Hi guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Black Feather podcast, an Ospreys fan podcast. I'm Sam and I'm going to be your host this evening. Joining us, we've also got Darren, Mark and Rod. Hi guys, how are you? How's your week been?
Hello, Sam.
All right, actually, yeah. Apart from putting my back out this evening, and I've got a long travelling ahead of me this weekend because I'm off on a work trip. So I'm not looking forward to sitting on a plane with a knot in my back. But yeah, excited to be here chatting more rugby with you guys.
Yeah,
Good. How's your week been, Mark?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, excited to talk some more rugby tonight.
Good. Da, how's your week been?
Good, yeah. Some interesting stuff has happened in the rugby world. We'll get onto that in a minute. How's your week been, Sam?
All good. Been working away. Been up in Northampton, with work and bit of a long week. So I know where you're coming from, Rod. You're traveling, although I should imagine you're going somewhere more exotic than, Northampton. But it's been a bit of a week. Some interesting things have happened throughout the week with announcements and different things going on. I suppose the question is, how are we all? We're a week on from Toby leaving. How are we all feeling? I know it was a bit of a shell shock this time last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like the dust has settled a bit, I guess. Some more sort of interviews and lines have come out from players and coaches alike. It was nice to hear from Dewi on the subject. I think he spoke to, I think it was BBC Wales Sport, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he came out saying that it was a bit of a shock to the players. So if it was a shock to him as a leadership figure within the group, then they must have kept a real tight wrap on it.
Yeah. And I think for me it is kind of, I don't know, I know I mentioned it before, but I'm a little bit fed up of all the conspiracy theories that are going around.
You mentioned that last week, didn't you?
Yeah. And I think we need to be more Elsa. We need to kind of let that go now and move on and let that dust settle. How much has it been talked about up north, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, the messaging coming out to the club now is very clear, isn't it? We need to get on with the season. It's a big season for us anyway to build on the success of what we had last year. With it being Toby's last season, adds that extra bit of edge to it as well. But there's rugby to play from next weekend. We're going to move on and accept what's happened and look forward to the future.
Well, that's what Dewi went on to say in that interview, wasn't it? He mentioned those words specifically. I think he said new direction. He also talked about wanting to give Toby that good send off. So it sounds like the players have moved on and they know what they want to do this season. So I think we just got to get behind them as fans now and make that happen and keep showing our support. I agree with you, Sam.
Last week.
Yeah.
I think he's watched.
Yeah. But the constant chatter and theorizing, it's not helpful, really. We probably won't ever find out what, true motivations. We'll only hear what lines we're fed. So we just got to, pick ourselves up and carry on. And like Dewi Lake said, give Toby Booth a really good send-off.
But he does deserve a good send-off, His 5th season now this year. He's worked in some tough circumstances with COVID and not having the money that normally a rugby coach would have to put, the squad that he ideally want. But, he's given young players a chance and, has proved that was wrong last season. Like where we finished last season, no one would have put us where we were. And it's sad to see Toby go, but, onwards and upwards, as they say, but yeah.
The king is dead, long live the king. Someone always comes in and someone always replaces. But I suppose that leads us quite nicely on to Exeter, because Exeter, let's face it, could have been a bit of a shambles last week after that news coming out. And we all know how good Exeter are. You can't doubt that. And it was on Radio Devon, but they also shared the coverage with football coming out of that region as well.
So don't get me started.
Very hit and miss.
Yeah.
But I managed to find one clip that somebody uploaded of the Conbeer try, and it was a great try. really, really good. And as you said, Dad, 3 tries in 3
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this little bit last week, but I said that I was impressed. How are we all feeling now about that kind of stat coming in, 3 from 3?
Well, like I said earlier, you know, he scored two tries. I think one was against Aberavon and one was against Swansea, I want to say. Or even both were against Swansea. I can't remember now. They were lovely finishes there. And obviously he scored again against Exeter. Hopefully now Mark Jones and Tips and Lance are like, all right, you know, he hasn't got a club that's after him potentially. Maybe if he keeps this try scoring record up, touch word, then he signs just long term because he's a good player. And yes, it was unfortunate that the Scarlets couldn't afford him because of we're all in money, financial problems. But you know, I've always rated him, even him being an ex-Scarlet. Like he's a good addition to the squad, and hopefully we do sign him long term. Because say now someone did get injured in that position, he can just slot straight in there and pick up the scoring charts.
He's 25. He could vie for a first team spot. You know, what do you guys, Mark and Rod, think?
In terms of combi or about the game as a whole?
Combi a game as a whole. I think scoreline was great. Was it 14-7, I believe?
14-10.
14-10.
Yeah, I mean, from what the report said, it sounds like Exeter's pack were trying to dominate us a little bit, you know, trying to sort of boss us around a bit, and sounds like the pack sort of stood up to that. Conditions were difficult as well. But you know, a win's a win at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how that win comes. I was following it on sort of Twitter generally. I didn't manage to find the sort of radio feed, but it's quite funny. 79th minute, the Exeter Twitter feed said, on the crowd breathe a huge sigh of relief as the Ospreys knock on. And then about 30 seconds later, oh, premature sigh of relief. The Ospreys have scored. Game over sort of thing. So
Luke Scully.
Yeah.
Last minute.
Yeah, he ran the length of the field. Someone ran the length of the field, and he was on the end of it to cross the line. So,
and I think Deves pinched that ball at the back, or picked up the ball at the back of the scrum, but it was at Exeter put in, wasn't it? So obviously a bit of scrum dominance there as well. But yeah, it sounds like they threw everything at what was a young Ospreys team, and that was a fully fledged Exeter outfit with all their superstars. So really positive stuff. I know it was a low scoring game.
but a win's a win.
I don't know what exactly, a win's a win. And I've got a good mate of mine who is a Chiefs fan, and he was at the game. He's a season ticket holder, so I messaged him immediately after. Hello, Jack. And his response was very brief. He said, "Considering we put out what I say is nearly our best players, wasn't great from Chiefs," and that's about as much as I got out for him. So I don't think he was very satisfied. Yeah. But it sounds like our youngsters really stepped up, didn't it? They threw everything at them, it sounded like, from the match reports. But yeah, BBC Radio Devon, prioritising the footy.
I know. Why?
Don't cross them both. Like, you choose one and stick to one, like, you know?
Yeah, it was weird. It was fading in and out. And I couldn't quite... I can remember the days when you used to have to listen to football on the radio.
You still do.
You kind of, you kind of would have that, we'll go here, we'll cross to there, we'll cross to here. So it was very weird listening to that, but with a crossover for rugby and football at the same time. Very, very, very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could quite easily have been a really hard game, not only physically and against, as you say, Rod, superb competition, a top-notch team. But mentally, that must have taken some mental strength to go there off the back of that announcement.
Yeah.
And go and perform. For me, that is, you can't ask for anything better than that from what is quite a young squad. Yeah. And for me, it's really exciting to see those young players coming through, that talent. But again, they also, moving swiftly on, debuted the new kit.
A nice looking kit.
It is a nice looking kit. I had the shirt on the last week. Bit of a sore subject for me. I was going to wear my new hoodie tonight, in the lovely, I don't know what kind of green you'd call it, forest green, emeraldy green. However, I've discovered they left the security tag under the armpit, so I'm going to have to take it back tomorrow.
You mentioned that last week, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some tricks that you can find on YouTube to get that off.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably utilizing an angle grinder or something.
Probably,
but I'm sure
but I'm
you're,
not
you'll
it's a
handle it.
conversation for another time, Rod, but my husband will confirm to you that I'm not allowed power tools of any kind. My nickname when it comes to things like that is Thorina.
Oh, nice.
I have no common sense when it comes to power tools, and how I've still got all my fingers is a surprise to my husband. But that's a conversation for an entirely different podcast than this one. But what were you all thinking about the kit? And I know there was a lot of hoo-ha online about no sponsorship on the front of the kit. I don't know about you, but I like a kit without a sponsor on. I'm my shirt for the Rugby World Cup last year didn't have a sponsor on the front, and I loved it.
I'm so on it because it gives the feel then of more of a training jersey, which can be nice in its own right. But just looking at them, it feels like it's missing something. But maybe that's just me. The kit itself is nice. It is really nice. I can't really decide which one I prefer, the home or away kit.
Definitely the home one for me.
Do you reckon? There have been comparisons made to Evian
doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit different. I think Macron were just told this season, just go for it when they just run.
The splash colours on there. And
just run with the nature theme, go for it. And they've come up with those designs. They're a bit out there, aren't they? The away kit, especially some of the colour schemes on the away.
The mountains.
They've sort of gone for it a bit on that one. But yeah, I think the black one's more wearable, I think, than the away one. I think if I was 20, I might get away with the away one. But yeah.
What do you mean?
You're
only 25?
I think the classic black looks good, and the feather effect looks nice on it as well. And when you compare it to what Macron have done with Cardiff's kits, for example, that are just plain and bland.
It's like them then. It's the sums of Cardiff, isn't it?
Shots being fired by there, Dad. We don't need to get into it. We don't need to get into a thing.
I'm already and more hyped, ready for next week. Like,
I've already started beef with Letley fans. Please don't start with the Cardiff fans as well. I can't do both.
I am eagerly awaiting the Euro kit though.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of one they go for. Like,
if the home kit and the away kit are sort of the benchmark, the baseline for this year, Christ, the away. The Euro kit could be something, either special or absolutely off the wall.
You might have actual feathers on it. You never know.
Yeah. The big bird.
Wow, I would love that. Obviously, myself and Darren have been to the shop, so we've seen it in real life, and up close on the black shirt, the feather detailing. I don't think what you see online does it any justice. And I can't say it's pink and I can't say it's purple, and it's not a fuchsia.
It's a splash of pink in it. Like.
Yeah, it's just really, really nice. And as quite a girly girl who's obsessed with pink, I love that. And I also love as well the fact that they're doing women's fits on the jersey, because no offense, guys, I go in and out in slightly different places than you do. So a guy's shirt sometimes, like I wore my husband's shirt last week, and as you can see, it's really big on the shoulders. So I really like that there's the women's fit. Disappointed that they're not doing the women's fit in the away kit. But I can't have everything. The other thing that I'm also really disappointed in, as somebody who is, we all know Macron's sizes are not awesome.
I did see a comment saying
on the thin side. And they've done in travel stuff for women like a really nice, I think they've called it an apricot colour, really nice hoodie, really nice t-shirt, XL. Now XL in a Macron is 12-14 if you're lucky. It's not going near Little Miss Chunky Monkey by you. It's not. And I would love to see that, because as much as I will happily wear the green hoodie, because I don't think we've spoken about the training stuff yet, the green and the gold is stunning.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely
beautiful.
Really lovely. I could have put my bauble hat on. I bought myself a new bauble hat. I buy a new one every single year. and the green and the gold. And I brought my husband the sleeveless training top for the gym, and they've got like the gold Ospreys written in a nice font across the back. And again, that in real life, the
Looks
pictures
lush.
online don't do it justice.
No, you got to see it up close and personal.
Really,
I
I
would-
think it's a nod to our new relationship with the Cheetahs, and we've gone full green and gold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for South Africa, we're going to be the next Scotland now with all the South African players coming over.
Yeah,
Oh, don't be like that now. Me and my
But I-
husband talk about this all the time.
I work in nature conservation. We were chatting beforehand, so I basically live in khaki greens and camos and stuff,
You were living the dream.
professionally and privately. So it's well up my street. I'll probably go for that over the actual playing jerseys and the supporters jerseys this year if I go for anything, because it's stunning.
It's really nice.
And the photos online, you know, the boys modeling it, they look really, really
And they
sharp.
look nice.
But on the promotion and the you know, the stuff they've been pushing to sell it online, really nice to see diverse representation within those photos. We had the under-18s girls front
Wheelchair
and centre.
rugby.
We had the wheelchair team, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
So really good to see that. That was something really
I love seeing
positive.
that. I really love seeing that. And it's not actually online, but it's in the shop, and there's 2 different types of the green hoodie. There's one with a gold Ospreys logo, and like the gold Macron sign. Across the back of the hood then is a black stripe with Ospreys embroidered down it, and like 2 patterned black panels down the side. And the one that I've got then is just plain green. Rather than having a pouch on the front, it's got like 2 pockets on the side that I can put my hands in. And like most women, I love anything that's got a pocket. And the logo then is white with a black edging, but the logos are actually like a rubber PVC kind of thing that is stitched on. Really nice.
Yeah.
With like a plain hood, and then the hoodie tie is black and white striped. And again, looks really, really effective.
Is the cost the same, Sam?
Yeah, I think so. Exactly the same. And we were both in there, and I was there with my friend Roger, and we're almost hoodie twins. So we both bought ourselves bobble hats. He had the one with the black paneling, and I had the other one. And I was like, gonna have to do a competition now about who looks the best. But you know, it really nice stuff. The quality of the polo shirts and the t-shirts again feels really nice. The training kit is lovely. And it's just got that nice shine to it. But we've also got the training kit as well. The training jerseys, which are like the same material as your match jersey, but they are like that blue and aquamarine and gold swirl. I don't know if you've seen it online.
It's like an oil slick,
like a marble.
isn't it?
It is,
yeah. And that's really nice in real life as well. And I really like what we're doing, because we tried something different last year with the pinks and the neons and the aquamarines. And I think you're right. I can't wait to see the European shirt, because I loved the European shirt last year. I bought that as well as a normal everyday shirt. And again, loved the colours. And really, really enjoyed it. But again, talking about Europe, we've had a bit of a bombshell again today, haven't we, where we've had some news that's come out that there are talks of a British-Irish league, and then the URC coming out and rebutting that quite heavily, quite after.
You can't blame them, can you?
It's money, you know.
All the speculation that I've read, sorry to interrupt you, but
it's speculation that's been going on for years. Mark, you're obviously same age as me, so you're used to those Anglo-Welsh derbs.
Yes.
What do you think?
It's just Groundhog Day again, isn't it? We've been going around on this for the last 20 years, 30 years, goodness know how long. And I mean, the prospect is exciting, you know, thinking about the top English teams top Irish teams and ourselves all in the league together. You know, Glasgow strong now as well. You know, the sort of prospect of that league would be strong, definitely. I had a bit of a spat with somebody online about it this week about the English clubs, because to me, the English clubs now are a bit more desperate than they have been in the past, maybe.
They need us at the minute.
The Premiership is shrinking. You know,
they're crying out for help, aren't they?
Yeah, they've sort of lost 3 clubs. Newcastle, if you believe what you hear, maybe teetering a little bit as well. And they're beginning to panic a bit that they're not going to have a viable league with enough teams in it to run. And all of a sudden they come in, not sort of cap in hand, but I think we're in a stronger position to be able to negotiate a bit more with them in terms of getting a good deal for, you know, the Welsh teams, the Irish teams, the Scottish teams. I'd love to see the English teams play against us. You know, it'll be nice to reignite those fixtures again. You know, it's exciting thought, but you know, I won't believe it until it's actually here, until it happens.
Yeah,
We've been here too many times before, haven't we?
Yeah.
But then where does that leave the Italian teams and the South African teams?
Exactly. I
mean, not in a good place.
About the Italian teams maybe going into the French second division. You know, obviously they're not going to walk straight into the top 14.
No.
But you know, it puts them in a much weaker position, the Italian teams, isn't it, in terms of where they go. But
yeah, not so concerned about the South African teams. They'd land on their feet, I'm sure, and find some. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. The Italian teams, their future would be a little less certain, and I'm sure it wouldn't result in disbandment, but they may not be performing at that top level right from the get-go. But you don't think that the rumours and the stories hold water this time, then, Mark, despite the state of the Prem? Do you think it's more likely now than it has been when these rumours have circulated over the past decade?
Maybe so.
Sure, it's no.
It comes down to money at the end of the day, isn't it? It's, you know, what if this league can create massive TV revenue for all the clubs and for the unions, then, you know, they'll go with it. It'll come down to whether the unions can actually agree, whether the clubs can agree on anything, because obviously that's been the stumbling block before, that everybody wants something slightly different out of it. And can't come to any agreement on these things. And, you know, the English clubs traditionally have wanted the lion's share of things and have wanted, you know, to dominate it, not just on the field, but sort of financially and with the sort of off the field stuff as well. But I don't know, just, yeah, as I say, I won't believe it until I see it, really. We've been to here far too many times before. And if it happens, fantastic. That'd be brilliant for the game across Europe. But we'll see.
I've been really busy today, so I haven't had a chance to, you know, read the reports or get into all the online chat. So somebody update me and any, you know, listeners who haven't had a chance. What was URC's response? Who did that come through? What were they saying?
Sam, have you got it? Or
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I got it as well, but
there was an article that came out to say that there were talks taking place by the rugby union to say that they were interested in a British-Irish league, and that they were looking and exploring those ideas. And then the URC came out with quite a very firm rebuttal to say, we've not been involved in any of these talks. We're not interested in these talks. We're happy as we are, thanks. And then sort of like the South African teams and the Italian teams kind of came out and said, well, we don't know anything about this. So I think it's very much, I don't know if you agree with me, Dad, but it's very much an evolving situation, is it not? With shots fired back and forth.
I got some facts and figures if anyone wants to hear what they posted.
Give it to us.
So this is relation to the news I broke this evening regarding British and Irish leagues, URC. So this is the BKT URC growth from the 2023-24 season. Attendances overall was 1.69 million fans. It was up 3% on last year. The average was 11.2 thousand per game last season. The record round for attendances was 149,000, round 9. Broadcasting total audience of 47.7 million, up 27% in the previous year. An average of 2.39 million views per round. So that's 1 to 16. Record round was 3.9 million, broadcasting round 11. The playoffs had an audience of 4.7 million. Social media, you know, every team goes to social media where they post everything. The fastest growing rugby competition, 29%. Total followers across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter was 1.4 million. Engagement with fans was up 22%. Club follower growth was up 94%. YouTube growth, total views last season was 40.6 million views, which was up 36%. And subscribers was 140,000, which was up 84,000. So if there was going to be any discussions, then obviously I don't think it would be coming from a URC perspective. It would maybe come from the 4 Welsh regions and a few of the English clubs maybe. I think the URC is in there, like what Sam said and what I've read when it broke. I think the URC are set on keeping it as their own league and are not open to anyone joining. Maybe add a few bit more South African teams, maybe if it's a possible. But in the article which they released, they said they fully want to back the growth of the URC in the next couple of years, and they got no interest basically.
Well, those stats paint the picture, don't they? And that is of, you know, growth in some aspects, exponential growth. So it would be unusual. There's no other business model where you would, you know, be seeing those kind of figures and stats and then be looking to, you know,
let someone else in on
cut the head of the snake and you know, put down the dog, as it were. So yeah. They're not going to be trying to fuel any of these stories out there. It must be coming from the UK domestically. I wonder who's been having those conversations. Yeah, like I said, I haven't read much into it, but it's interesting hearing your perspective.
I think it's coming more from the English clubs than anything else, because I think for them, we can see it expanding with regards to the URC. And let's face it, other than the South African clubs, if anybody wanted to hop on a flight and go somewhere, it's relatively easy to do. You know, we're looking at, you know, going up to Glasgow in March if we can, as a group of us. But I know there's a hardcore, you know, set of Ospreys fans who find, to quote Toby, find a way of getting wherever they need to get to. You know, my husband went to Montpellier with a trip that was organised by the Ospreys just before Christmas, year before last, and had an absolutely amazing time. Really loved it.
The question is, Sam, is obviously those are really nice jollies, aren't they? Yeah. Going away. Is there that rivalry? Do you go there and do you feel that
that's the problem?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like I've said, last year I went up to Gloucester, I went up to Sarries, I went up to Leicester.
Those were special.
I had an amazing time. All right, Sarries wasn't great, we lost. But I did come away with a fez and some selfies. So, you know,
that was the selfies.
Selfie queen.
Selfie. Yeah, loves it. I'm setting myself a challenge for this year, right? And you first. How many selfies can I get within the Ospreys, but also outside of that as well?
We should set up a bingo card, and you've got to try get a.
I will happily challenge you to that.
Do it.
I will challenge you. I will. I know I am neither. I lack confidence, but I know some of them now, and I will happily go. Yeah, can I have a selfie, please?
The only thing I get a bit scared of is that I'm 5'2" and they all tower over me. But I don't mind that.
They tower over me, so.
But talking to I went for coffee this morning after some blood tests, and Crafty Smuggler down near St Helens is run by Bam Day, who used to play for Scarlet. Absolutely amazing coffee. Bam. I don't know if that's his real name, actually. I only ever know him as Bam. But that's where I go for my coffee, with my posh coffee machine downstairs. And he's got a nice place up in Uplands as well. And when Lance was asking for suggestions about St Helens, I was like, get Crafty Smuggler involved. Coffee's amazing. Forgetting, sorry, Scott Orton, but Scott Orton's got So Coffee.
And Paul James, isn't it?
I know, my bad. But you know, life is too short for poor coffee, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, with everything that's going on, it's not that rivalry, it's not that English-Welsh rivalry. We done really a little bit niggly with the Irish sometimes. The Scottish, we just love the Scottish love us, but you haven't got that niggle.
No.
It's not like football, is it?
I haven't
We're all one big rugby family, and we always get on. Like,
not with the English
I've
clubs, I don't think. Not with the English clubs, not back in
not with the Scarlets.
No.
Oh,
Don't now. They've published stuff about their loan repayment.
Oh, don't get me
They've
started.
added 15 years to that. And obviously we had the thing last week on when I said, well, why didn't you repay your loan? Now, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, cost of living, if I was living down that way and I found out that my council had extended a loan for 15 years and my rates were going up,
Yeah.
I'd not be a happy bunny.
No.
I would not. And for all that they go on, oh, we own our own club. No, mate, you don't. You don't. But we absolutely digress. So, moving on to some questions. Rod, our social media guru, put some stuff out online and said, you know, send us some questions. And to my absolute abject surprise, we had some questions.
Yeah.
So it does actually mean that someone other than our family members is paying attention,
which is nice to see.
which is lovely. And while we're here, I would also like to say thank you very much to all the Ospreys players, past players, academy guys who are following us. Thank you very, very much. If anybody would like to come on and talk to us, message us. Just come on. We're all really friendly. And do you know what? I got merch now. So if you come on and speak to me, do you know what I'm going to give you? I'm going to give you a mug. Well, like and surprise you could get a mug.
The way you got to think about it is the sooner you come on, we'll stop pestering you then.
Yeah, just
Get it out of the way and we'll stop pestering you.
Just have a selfie with me so I can film a bill and go back. That's all I'm asking. That's all I need. So we've got some questions. So I'm going to throw these out to you guys. So something that we've all discussed amongst ourselves, and we were talking about some sealed envelopes and some predictions of where we think we're going to end up. So actually, guys, I want you to give your predictions and I'm going to jot them down. And we're going to see where we are at the end of the season, and we're going to see who's on the right path. So Neil Riley, thanks for your question, doll. Predictions for this season in all competitions. Can we make top 8 again? Darren, what are you thinking?
Yeah, why not? I think top 4. I'm saying top 4. Why not top 4? We got the squad.
You pin that to the mast, boy.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I've said it on various social media posts, and yeah, I'm saying top 4, and we're going to win the Challenge Cup.
Okie dokie. So
Yeah.
top 4. Challenge Cup.
So, do you want my top try scorer as well for the season?
Let's not go too far now.
Yeah, I know what it is. It's all written down. It's there, like, you know.
That can be a segment on next week's pod.
Next week you'll talk about that.
I'm all psyched up for the new season, like, you know.
So we top 4 and we
It's actually not Ryan Conway.
Mark, what's your scores in the doors, son?
Well, I can't top that. I won't say top 4. I think it's going to be difficult to break the top 5 or 6, maybe. I think those may be tied up. So I'm going to go 7th in the URC and semi-finals in the Challenge Cup.
Oh, going backwards, are we? Ooh, Toby won't be impressed with that.
He won't, no.
Well, if he wants to come on, he can challenge that with Mark direct.
Consolidation, we'll call it, rather than go backwards.
Yeah.
I think while Sam is jotting that down, it would be nice if we did win something for Toby, just to say.
I'd love it.
And
we'll have a last hurrah.
Yeah, like Dare, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but like Debbie said, you know, they want to send them off with a bang, and winning something would be amazing for them.
Yeah. Rod, come on, roll the dice, son.
Well, sounding unoriginal, I jotted stuff down prior to recording this, and I have got the same placements as Mark there, but I am trying to listen to my head and not my heart. You know,
What did your
50
head
points
say
last season. Well, we had. I'll explain my thinking. We had 50 points last season, and we were unlucky that didn't place us higher based on how things fell the season before. 50 points in the season before would have put us up in 7th place, maybe, you know, teetering on 6th. So I've been a little bit conservative and I stuck with 7th, in the hope that we can achieve a similar number of points this year. The difficulty is I don't expect the Sharks to have the same season that they had last year. So they're going to be up there. So that's another team, pushing for one of those top 8 spots. So we're counting essentially on another separate team having a flop of a season.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that's going to be. So yeah, I'm going to stick with 7th because I don't want to embarrass myself. And then Challenge Cup, I'll go semis, but again, it's so dependent on how the fixtures fall, because you got a home fixture down the Brewery Field or wherever, and we're all screaming and shouting, and the opposition can't hear what calls they're making at the line out. It's a lot easier than when we have to go away to Gloucester and you're stuck in the middle of a crowd
in the shed.
Every single time that you chant Ospreys, you're getting drowned out. What do they chant down there?
Gloucester.
No, EO.
EO, yeah.
Oh my God, they did not stop EOing last season, did they?
No.
And it was driving me nuts. There was a kid on his father's shoulders behind me, and any time I opened my mouth, he was screaming it. And I've never wanted to, throw a child.
No violence in this podcast.
Yeah, don't admit that on the pod.
No, come on now. There's a head teacher present.
Actually,
I didn't follow through with it, but he almost
there's a head teacher and a lawyer present. Now, come on.
Yeah, I know. Risky game I'm playing.
I was always
I'll
in
go 7th in the
Mark.
URC and semis in the Challenge Cup.
I loved Gloucester. I wanted to actually go in the shed, but I am very excitable, shall we say, when it comes to certain things. And myself and my friend Andrew, we're more football hooligans than we are rugby fans sometimes, shall we say.
I can second that.
Yeah. And when we did go to Gloucester again, this was another fine moment for me. And I don't know whether I was excited because I can remember him when he was playing, or I had my picture taken with Martin Bayfield. Now, there's a 1.5 foot difference. But did you actually know that Martin Bayfield also played and did body double for Hagrid in Harry Potter?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Did he actually?
That's amazing, yeah.
He absolutely did.
Oh my God, that's the thing, man. Is
I am an absolute Potterhead. Absolutely. And I don't know what I was more excited about, but that was also the time where Tom Shanklin and Austin Healey were also there. And they were just standing there talking, and they kind of looked at me because I'd just had my picture taken with Martin Bayfield, and Austin Healey kind of looked as if to say, am I going to ask you for a picture? And I was like, nah.
I can't stand him.
I was like, not for me. You're named after a car. But predictions for me, I was very much between 6 and 7. So because you guys went for 7, I'm going to go for 6, and I think we're going to make the quarters. So I have wrote this down, and when we do our end of season roundup, then we'll see where we were. And obviously, as we're going through, we can kind of revisit whether we're on track or whether we think things are going to change. But great question, Neil. Great question. And it's something we're all asking about.
Is there prizes if we get spot on?
No prizes, just repercussions for the loser.
Oh God.
That's gonna be me then, isn't it? Because you're
That's
with
you.
with one
That's
thing.
you.
Yeah,
That's you. I don't know
literally.
what we're gonna think up for you, but we will. Can you still send like exploding glitter in envelopes? Because I don't know about you, but glitter gets it.
That's such
You
a
know what it
such a
would.
you repercussion, Sam.
Do you
It's
know
got to
what,
involve
right?
glitter.
I'm terrible. I've got sparkly eyeshadow on now. It's awful. I am the girliest, most glittery, sparkly female rugby fan you'll ever come across. It's unreal.
But no, just
If you could,
What's your dog's name?
reminiscing that Gloucester game last year. We really, I was in the shed with a bunch of mates from England who weren't Gloucester fans, but dragged them over, you know,
yeah,
because it was sort of halfway between where they were and where we were. So we all met up in the shed, and we just you know, annoyed everyone around us because Johnny May was clearly having problems on the wing that day
with his
and was
leggings on.
constantly, yeah, and he was constantly stretching, but he wasn't doing a lot. So we chanted for the entire second half. He gets cramp from doing nothing, Johnny May, Johnny May. And we'd had a few to drink and we did not stop with that chant. So yeah, I think
You were a football
we
hooligan as well,
tiptoed
then.
out of the shed, you
That's three of
know,
us.
without looking behind
Oh,
our shoulders.
I love it. Carry on, Sam.
Last season I nearly got kicked out of the Liberty for shouting. There's a guy in front of me with his mother, and because you're in the posh side, aren't you? And I'm in the other side. It's really quiet. It's like a morgue there, that side, and it's just me shouting. Everyone's staring at me. Last season, this bloke just looked back at me like that. I went, someone effing get this kid out, like. And I'm with like people that know me because we're season ticket holders, and he was like, "Is he always a guest?" I was like, "Yeah, he's very passionate when it comes to rugby." I said, "Yeah, I'd rather be passionate than boring."
Oh God. Did you want to start a fight on purpose?
No, they did, but
I love it that you're on the other side, you're on the posh side. Yes, and yes, I am what my father would call, and he'd be mortified by me and my brother. I am now a champagne rugby fan, guys. You know, with my nest, I can go in the lounge 2 hours before. Normally we have food and everything as well, but we decided not to do that this year because I potentially have had to have sold a kidney. I can give some insight into this with Lance going into when he was talking about food and beverages and we get nothing for it. Without sounding awful, my season ticket last year was about 500 quid. And that was, we go in beforehand, we get Malpop, we speak to some players, we get like a buffet meal, usually something quite nice. Come in half time, you've got tea, coffee, Welsh cakes. And I'm aware that how posh I sound doing this.
But that's pit dunce in comparison to some of the
To the big
Premiership
clubs.
clubs.
Oh, yeah.
And then you come in.
You're talking thousands, and
yeah, you come in full time, you've got a pie and you've got, you know, whatever. This year, it was locking more like 800 quid for my ticket.
Wow.
And that is purely because of what the Swansea.com charges for food and drink.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a no-brainer that we had to move away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the posh side. But we've got another really good question from
Give it to us.
Jake Keneally. Sorry, Jake, I nearly called you Kennedy. I was thinking of Jack Kennedy. Do we think this is the strongest squad Toby Booth has ever had, considering the signings that we've had?
potentially.
Okay.
I think nothing. I know we didn't win anything, but the likes of when we had Adam and Jones, George North, Cuthbert, you can't really compare.
Did we have Cuthbert though because he spent more time injured? The boys made of glass.
True,
That was
but this squad is yet to be tested in the URC with the new signings. Yes, the youngsters done fantastic, but the new signings minus Combia has shown what they're capable of.
I think it's potentially the strongest squad because it's the squad that he's built. He's got players in that he wants to play for him, and they clearly are playing for him. And I think, you know, he's got the right players, the right character within that squad. They may not be the biggest names, but they'll run through a brick wall for Toby Booth. And I think in that respect,
1 to
Super
23
mentality, innit?
for a brick wall for him.
yeah,
Got backs against the wall. What we're going to do.
yeah.
Rod, what do you reckon, lovely?
Yeah, I think this is probably the most depth we've had in the full squad in you know, at least the last few years. I certainly can't remember in the last, you know, 2 or 3 years having so many sort of mental dilemmas when trying to write my my 23-man starting, you know, on bench squads on my notes on my phone. It's been harder to do that this year. And that's because, yeah, there's so much heart, you know, that any of those boys who maybe don't make it onto your first starting 15, they're going to come on, you know, after 60, 70 minutes and put in just a bit as big a shift as those starting players. So, yeah, it may well be. Let's see what this season brings.
And that then leads us quite nicely on to a comment that we had from Keith Mellin, which was rumour, are we going to sign Robert Hunt, 28, South African tight head prop, as cover for Rhys Henry, who I believe is injured. Now, Da, you're pretty good with this kind of thing, really, and knowing the inside scoop. Any views, any inside skinny?
Nothing, I'm not going to give anything too much away, but potentially it's looking likely that Robert Hunt is signing for us. He is 28. He was born in, sorry for my pronunciation before I get picked up again, Hermanus in South Africa. Thank you. He currently plays for the Toyota Cheetahs. Last season he played for the Free State Cheetahs in the Currie Cup, making 5 appearances. In the 2023 season, he played for the Blue Bulls in the Currie Cup. He scored 5 points, made 5 appearances, 3 were starts in that season. In the 2022-23 season, he played for the Bulls in the URC. He made no appearances, but then in the 2022 season, he played for the Blue Bulls in the Currie Cup. He scored 5 points, made 8 appearances. He had 7 starts, scored 1 try. And in the 2021-22 season for the Bulls again in the USC, he scored 5 points, 15 appearances, 15 starts, and 1 try.
So he's got a bit of experience.
Yeah, and someone like Rod alluded to earlier, someone posted a video up on the Ospreys fan base of him, and I've seen this prior to this. He knows his way to the try line. Those stats don't really paint a full picture. In his highlights reel, he was like pushing players out the way, like he is like a lump of a player, like. And
what's his scrummaging like though?
I didn't get that far into the video.
Love that they got a highlights reel.
Yeah.
Because we got carriers. Carriers ain't what we're short on.
No,
we've got Morgan Morris. We've got Keith in the centre. You know, we've got some lumps who carry that ball forward. What we need is somebody to lock in that scrum.
Yeah, we're struggling depth this year. You know, we got Rhys Henry out. I don't know what he's up with. I know Ben Warren's up with a rib injury. That's a couple of weeks, I want to say. So that leaves us short on that tight head spot. That's why I think we need to get this guy in.
So clarify something for me, Darren, quickly. Is he currently on the Bulls sheet, team sheet? Is he signed up for this coming season?
Well, I want to say he's. I done a bit of research into this, and he's down on the Toyota. I can't say the word. The Cheetahs.
Toyota Cheetahs.
Yeah, thank you. He's on their official website as their player. So
but he's also on the Bulls website.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So wouldn't that exclude him from playing in URC fixtures? And equally, his affiliation with Cheetahs will exclude him from challenge.
Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a bit confused by
22 again, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's not many options out there that I've heard murmuring about. It's definitely a possibility that he could be signing for us soon. Before next week, hopefully.
You got anything on that, Mark?
Nothing on that sign. All I've seen is in terms of Ben Warren that Toby Booth's been talking him up in the on sort of Wales Online this week. Just saying, that he's potentially one of our breakout players this season. And he only had the one start last season, come off the bench a bunch of times as well. But it sounds like he's been talked up. He trained with the Welsh squad before the Australia tour as well. So I think, going forward for the rest of the season, I know he's going to be out for the first few weeks, but it sounds like he's going to be the option, backing up Boto. Obviously, he can't play week in, week out and can't play full game or whatever. So, it's going to be a combination of those two, I think, going forward. But it's whether we get somebody in short term, like he said, to cover in the early season.
Shout out to Ben Warren if you're listening as well.
Yeah, you're welcome to the pod, especially if you haven't got a mug.
Yeah. I'll get you a mug, Ben. And if you're lucky, I'll get you a notebook and pen as well. But Mark, it'd be interesting to get, we had a question on Twitter from John Kirkpatrick and John Kirk 977956112. Wonder if that's his phone number.
Catchy, isn't it?
I love it. What do you expect from Mark Jones? Will we see a growth in our attack as Fussell has had plenty of time to bed in now? Attack always takes longer than defence. And again, John's mentioned about tight head. We have some prospects, but we're thin on experienced ones. I know that we spoke last week about Mark Jones, and you had some really interesting views on his coaching pathway. So do you want to field that one with what we expect from Mark Jones?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll see any big changes in approach in terms of this season. We're not going to suddenly start throwing the ball around this year. Obviously, Mark Jones has got a bit more of an attacking background with the teams he's worked with previously, with RGC, with the Wales under-20s. So coming through to next year, it may be that we have a slight change of focus in terms of style next year. But in terms of this season, it'll be very much the status quo, I think. But exciting going forward. We may have a bit more of a balanced game, maybe going into 25-26, rather than the full dominated game that we've got currently.
And the relevant point there, Mark, and the others, is that for that season ahead of this one, we will be moving to St Helens with a new surface, with a 4G surface. So that might be quite conducive to a more attacking style of play, which could be something he's looking at pursuing. So it could work out quite nicely.
Not to dwell.
Nifty backs. We have. And if you've got a really strong forward platform for them to get that ball back, we've got some pace. One thing that I was really gutted about was that we lost Prothero. I loved Prothero playing. I really did. Boy could turn on a penny. Really lovely pace. So
he's injury prone. Sad for him now.
Less so than Cuthbert though. We paid all that money for Cuthbert, and we had one or two good outings. So for me, and then kind of the last question, which I'd like us to end with the last question really in our question segment, is following on from that really, will the way the team plays, and this is from Gareth P. Stewart. Hi Gareth, thanks for sending the question, and thanks to everybody who sent questions. Will the way the team plays change a lot next season once Booth has left, or will we stick with a strong forwards game plan? I know we just covered a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think it'd be more attacking. Especially on a 4G pitch, I think it'd be more attacking next season, especially with our pacey backs and wingers. Maybe Mark Jones, like Mark said, it'd be more attacking style rugby, maybe not throwing the ball around a bit more often than your typical forwards. But
Mark, would you like to see that kind of game change play, or?
I think it's the balance, isn't it? We've got a strong pack that's been established over the last few seasons or whatever, so we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater either. We've got that style of play that we're playing now, but it's that little bit more balance. I think I'll be expecting next season that the Mark Jones brings in, so it'll be the balance of that strong forward pack, but hopefully a bit more flair in the backs as well.
Rod?
Yeah, I mean, something that we haven't discussed yet in the context of all this management and captaincy changes is Jack stepping back into that captaincy role for this season, which is fantastic. Obviously, it's sad to see Tips taking a step back from that role, but ultimately, that's exactly what we talked about last week, is wanting to see is him focusing on his personal development and his development towards that coaching type role, which he wouldn't be able to do if he's also carrying the weight of captaincy as well. So yeah, hopefully Jack can re-establish himself pretty quickly after quite a lot of time out last season. Obviously Jack will be lost in international windows, but Lance has since come out and made comments about how, if that is the case, you know, despite that, he's looking at this multi-leadership model. There's some good leaders throughout the group there. You got Adam Beard, you got Dewi Lake,
Deves.
Yeah, you know, and some of these are going to be out on international duty as well. But yeah, exactly, Harry Deves. Some of these younger players are really starting to take on that role as well. Ruben Morgan Williams, you know, I think he's developing into a lovely sort of stable character within that group who could maybe offer some of that leadership qualities if he's unfortunate enough not to get selected for the Welsh squad, which I think he's probably got the quality to do so, but that is yet to be seen. So yeah, I think we're going to see change, you know, immediately, not just on the horizon. It's exciting.
Yeah, and for me, just because you're captain doesn't mean that you're the only leader.
No.
You know, you can be a leader, whatever position you are on the field, and whether you're the captain or not. And I think that's what we want, is a team of leaders, a team who wants to, like, not everybody's a leader. They're not. And we've had some fantastic characters throughout the years within Welsh rugby who have been fantastic captains. And I love that we always give young people the chance to be captains. And I'm sounding old now, but they've obviously got that in them to inspire, no matter what age you are. And it's that feeling of, if you ask me to go over the top with you, I'm with you. You're my brother. I'm going with you. And Jack very much has that. And I think it's such a shame that for so many years Jack had, "You're too small, Jack. You're too small." Well, you're not too small now. You know, you're big on the field and off the field. And I think him and Debbie can only flourish. Because I think they've got a lovely relationship off the field as well when you see them on social media and everything else. So I think you're right. Thanks for reminding me about that, Rod, about the announcement with Jack this year, because he's got so much potential and talent on top of where he already is at the moment. You know, if you asked me to put my hand in the fire, I'd probably say, yeah, Jack, no problem. You know, I would be fine with that. But you know, what I would encourage everybody to do is please continue sending us questions in, because pretty much the questions that we've had are things that we've talked amongst ourselves.
Fan engagement
out of the week. And this is your podcast, guys. So if you want to ask a question, you know, where I got my eyeliner, you know, who do I think could be the new tight head? You know, I'll answer any questions. Rod will tell you where he had his dodgy haircut, you know. Darren will tell you what new Zoo Flora is coming in home bargain tomorrow. So it's fine. But you know, so please keep in contact with us. We have all set up our various social media for you to contact us. Rod is the social media guru. Talking about highlight reels, I'm sure that Rod's got more in the planning for highlight reels for me, you know, selfie queen that I am. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on Twitter and I am Sam BF Pod. And on Insta, I'm Sam Blackfeather Pod. So please feel free to follow, send me a message, do whatever. Rod, do you want to give the details for the Blackfeather Pod out for me?
Yeah, so the general podcast socials on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, we're at the Blackfeather Pod. On X, we're at Blackfeather Pod minus the A in the black, so BLCK Feather Pod. And then you can also find us on Spotify and Facebook as well, just by searching any combination of those words.
Lovely. And we'll pop we'll try and add something in so that we put all these down for you as well at the end of the episode. Darren, Mark, do you want to give us your social medias if you're comfortable to do that?
Go on, Mark.
Well, mine is on the screen. You can see
Mark,
it there.
yeah.
It's on the screen. So it's
Mark_PH74.
PH74. I have a very, very small social media presence at the minute, so I need that to grow. Happy to interact and talk to anybody online.
Listen, I will have you lip syncing on TikTok before you know it, but let me tell you, you'll be doing the dances and everything. You'll be there.
Oh, there we are. Look out then.
And Darren?
Just Darren Blackfeather Pod
on
Twitter.
X.
Just
on
Twitter.
X.
Yeah.
Who knows what it's called?
Twex.
Twex. That could be very dangerous if I drank. So, you know, please get in touch. This is as much our baby as it is you guys watching or listening, baby. We're really interested to hear your thoughts and your feelings on things. Send some questions. I promise you there is no such thing as a stupid question. We may give you a stupid answer, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. And share, like, subscribe, you know.
Sam, I'll give you a mug, guys.
Yeah, I'll give you a mug, or I'll give you some merch. We've also got some really nice notebooks and pens. So for any stationery addicts like myself, then you know what? If you are very, very good, then
oh, look at that. Oof.
It's nice. Nice bit of kit. However, we are running up to Christmas. So who knows? And I know I've mentioned the word. I know I've mentioned it this early. It's been
12 weeks.
However, Santa could bring you some presents for Christmas if you're lucky.
Early.
We'll do
Christmas giveaway.
Christmas giveaway. You know, we will have a Christmas jumper special for everybody. So get thinking about those jumpers. But as always, guys, it's been a pleasure catching up with you all. And as I said earlier, get those questions in, get thinking about things next week. Next week coming up, we're going to be looking at the regions, all 4 of them in greater detail. Darren, you are going to be looking at
Scarlet.
No, I was Scarlet.
Oh, sorry.
They left me down
Cardiff.
there.
Sorry, I get them mixed up. They're too bad. They're 2 bad teams, yeah. Sorry.
One's east and one's west. What are you doing? And one beat your Blacks.
I'll do the Welsh Rugby Union favourite. I'll do Cardiff then.
Cardiff. Mark?
I'll be looking at the Dragons.
You'll be looking at the Dragons. Because they love me and I'm super conscious that they should pay their loan, I'm going to look at Llanelli. Rod, because you've got a busy week and you're travelling, you can have a little
process of elimination.
About Ospreys. I've given you an easy week.
Or is that the hard job? Because, you know, there's the expectation for some in-depth analysis there. We'll see.
And I'm telling you now, make sure you do your homework or Mark will not be happy. You're having an F.
I've got a red pen ready. Yeah.
In red pen. So, thank you once again.
You'll cancel your flight home.
I don't think Mark's got that power as a head teacher, but, you know, you can see. How long would you have to go on the naughty step for, Rod?
Oh, I don't know. That's not for me to determine.
Naughty range. So how long would you be on the naughty step for?
Well, I'm 28, so
you'd be there for 28 minutes. I'd be there for 47.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah. You obviously never watched Super Nanny.
I was unpunishable as a child. It didn't work for me. I grew up on a farm as a wild boy, so there was no controlling me as a child.
You didn't come back to me when I asked you if you had cows.
No, sheep, pigs, chickens. We did have cattle, but I don't remember them. They were when I was a little one.
If I ever won the lottery, right, I know that it's £400 to buy a Highland cow. Don't ask me how I know that. If I won the lottery, probably wouldn't tell anybody, but you know by the fact that I in my back garden. You know. But lambing season, anything that needs like feeding or anything, I'm your gal. Because I'm not squeamish and I like that kind of thing. But we digress a lot. But thank you for sticking with us, guys. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 and listening to episode 2. As I say, next week, we're going to be looking ahead at the regions, how we think the other regions are going to do. And we're also going to be looking ahead to the Dragons game. Get those questions in throughout the week. we'll collate them all together. We'll have another little session. But for now, thank you. Goodbye. Cheers once again, guys, for keeping me entertained, and hit that like and subscribe button.